Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to Pinal County Community College District Governing Board Public Hearing Special Meeting Agenda, and this is for the budget. And then after this, we'll have another meeting, the regular meeting, okay? So, first item, call to order. I'll note that we have a quorum. And number two, I'll ask Board Member Kasuga to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand and join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we'll go into the public hearing portion, but it'll be the review of the 24-25 district budget. Louis Sott, welcome.
Good afternoon. Governing Board President, fellow Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, staff and guests. So we're asking for the board to approve the college operating budget in accordance with the Arizona Revised Statutes. The board approved the draft preliminary budget for publication at the April 2023 Board of Governors meeting. There have been no changes since that to the document since that meeting. We are looking at adoption of the primary and the secondary property tax rates are going down. We have not raised property taxes for a while now, so. Any questions?
Board have any questions? Nope, no questions. Yeah, we do have them after. Okay, now we'll open it up to, do you have anything else? If not, we'll open it up to the public during the call to the public, and this is only on the budget. So if anybody has any comments on the budget, please get up, state your address and name for the record. Nobody? I think anybody signed up? Nobody signed up. All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. We'll end the call to the public, and we'll have the special meeting, the adoption. So item number 5, the adoption of the 24-25 district budget. Do I have a motion and a second?
I'll move to adopt the 24-25 district budget.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Nay? Motion carries. Budget's approved. All right, so with that, I'll adjourn this meeting, and we'll go to the next one. So this meeting is adjourned. All right. And now, okay, now we'll go into the Pinal County Community College District Governing Board regular meeting. And call to order, and I'll do that with the gavel, and note that we have a quorum. And do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So
In a
moved.
second. Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is adopted. All right, and then call to the public. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak? Anybody sign up? Okay, we had no one sign up. All right. We'll move on to action items. Consideration of the consent agenda. Do I have any motions to approve the consent?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any against? Motion carries. The consent agenda is adopted. All right. Number 5, Superstition Mountain Campus Water Easement. Mark Sullis. Did I pronounce that right? Sullis?
Yes.
Good.
Good afternoon, President Lopez, governing board members, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, staff and guests. In order for the municipality water services to properly accommodate the new buildings at the Superstition Mountain campus, Apache Junction Water District, AJWD, required that a 12-inch domestic water main be constructed on the college's property. This has already been completed. Since AJWD is the owner of the physical water line, they will also operate and maintain the line and therefore need access to the water line. This easement will grant AJWD the rights to maintain and operate the lines that lie within CAC's property.
So, Mr. Salas, you said it's already been constructed?
Yes.
So this is really, okay. So it's just formalizing it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for not stopping construction. We have to have that anyway. So, it's got to be done, so. Okay, so do we just need a motion to approve?
Yeah,
the
it's
easement?
just proposed that the governing board.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does anybody have a question?
I just want one comment.
Yes.
The water line is constructed, but from my understanding, what Apache Junction Water District wants is easement to that line.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's all we're voting on, is to give them easement to the line. It's already done. It was
Correct.
part of the construction package and project to start with.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can work on the line if they need to access that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they all
Just
the water
easement.
companies, electric.
Just an easement, that's all.
Yep. Any other questions, comments?
I move to grant the easement.
Great. Second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to grant the easement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Easement's granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have the ACA, Pinal County CAC amended IGA. Louisa Ott?
Good afternoon again, Governing Board President, fellow Governing Board members, Dr. Elliott, Jackie, staff, and guests. You have in your packet an amendment to an agreement between CAC, LGS, Pinal County, and ACA, which is Arizona Commerce Authority. This amendment is due to a price increase for the budget for the construction for the building that LGS will be using. This has no changes to CAC's responsibilities. It's just changing the agreement because the quotes came back higher than what they originally estimated, and CAC has no responsibility for that. ACA and Pinal County will be increasing their responsibility to cover those costs.
That's good. So, all right.
So we recommend that you approve the amended IGA between the college, LGS, Pinal County, and ACA.
All right, any questions from the board?
None.
Questions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So the IGA is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're down to reports. Report from College President Jackie Elliott. Dr. Jackie Elliott.
Good afternoon, Governing Board President, board members, Mary Lou, faculty, staff, and guests. So I have a couple updates to share with you today. The first is the Pence Center. We finally have crews that have been able to begin removing the debris safely. About half of the debris has been removed to date. Storing towers have been erected to secure the building. Again, safety is very important. And ramps have been constructed to allow for heavy equipment now to come in and begin removing the debris from the larger debris from the audience area. Structural engineers will be on site in the next few weeks to investigate damages beyond just the damages that are obvious for damages to the structure, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical system. Again, until they get the debris out, we did not have access to some of those components. The trust has been extremely accommodating to work with, and we're very happy to note that they have agreed to pay for expenses associated with moving our entertainment industry technology program to another location on campus, which will allow for students to be able to continue their program of study. If you recall, that equipment includes a lot of soundboards and other things, so it's not like just getting another classroom. We have to move some high-tech equipment. I'm happy to note that graduation, we had 319 students walk this year, 140 at 9 a.m. and 179 at 11 a.m. And in doing some research, it makes it the largest number of students participating in commencement ceremonies in CAC's recent history. So that was really good news to have that many students be able to participate in commencement activities. My next is So that's kind of a district update. I have one legislative update. As you know, the legislation's winding down. And so far, the only bill that was passed was the community college license plate bill that was headed up by PEMA. So this one, Senate Bill 1189, we've talked about it before, but its political subdivisions are prevented from enacting ordinances, rules, or policies that prohibit gun shows from occurring or that primarily affect gun shows, and the governor actually vetoed this one. So that was it. So any questions about legislation or the district update?
Any questions from the board?
The bill that she vetoed, was that to,
Senate Bill 1189.
and its purpose was to,
Prohibit political subdivisions, which we would fall under that, from enacting any ordinance saying that we prohibit gun shows.
so it's legal to have a gun show on the campus?
I guess so. Good point. Yeah. All right. And then finally, under miscellaneous, it's my honor to recognize Vicki Young-Shiverton as faculty emeritus that you voted on at the last board meeting. Today, we're presenting Vicki with a certificate of recognition, and a plaque is being prepared to be housed in the H building with the names of all the emeritus faculty. To date, we only have 2 because we just had the policy. I just brought the policy to the board a couple years ago. So it's great to be able to offer this. And if Vicki could come up, we're going to give you this wonderful plaque and take a picture. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations, and thanks for everything you do.
And that concludes my report for today.
All right. Okay, next is the business affairs report. Louisa?
Good afternoon again, Governing Board President, board members, Jackie Elliott, Mary Lou, and staff and guests. We now have the monthly budget report. The report reflects the year-to-date through March of 2024. March 2024 shows the district's operating fund expenditures are at 70.24% of total budget. This is an increase of 27.06% from March of 2023, which was at 43.18%. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Nope.
Thank you. So next we have the awarded bids over $20,000. You have the list of those in your packets. Are there any questions on those?
Looks pretty comprehensive, and a lot of them are under budget, so it's good. Any questions for the board? No? We're good
Thank
with
you.
it. Thank you. Okay, next we have outcomes 2 and 3 access and stewardship report. Andrew Long and Jose Dagnino and Luis Sott.
Board President Lopez, members of the board, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou, it's always a pleasure to be in front of the board. And it's also always a pleasure when the arrow says good and it's moving up from 50 to 56% on percent of underserved students enrolled. And as I was thinking about this, you know, we've done a lot of work on our Pathways initiative, and Nicole Costalis led our last Title V grant all around pathways. And looking back at the college, you know, there's a pathway students get on to degree completion, to careers, to jobs. But at the time, initially, we had a little bit of a toll booth when you got on the on-ramp to the pathway. And the big thing was the AccuPlacer, our placement test. And it wasn't a big toll booth, but it was just enough that may have prevented some students from getting on board, getting signed up, getting qualified for the classes they need to be in there. So as we made shifts and we hit a pandemic, we kind of blew up that toll booth. But then in addition, we kind of blew up our on-ramp too, because it was very clear you took the acuplacer there. So we had students coming on country roads, jumping fences. I mean, they were trying to get on our on-ramp all sorts of directions. And it wasn't always really clear about how you got started and got on the pathway. And what happens is when you have a little bit of a toll booth, when you have no on-ramp, our underserved students are the ones that get penalized the most. So when I look back at the last 2 to 3 years, even before I arrived, what we've done is we provide clear on-ramps to students to get on board here. You know, you look, we implement our new admissions application that had the REACH CRM tool. And so you can get consistent, clear email and text messaging saying, here's your next step. Here's how you get started. You know, the academic department did a great job on looking at our placement tools. And so going from the AccuPlacer, which is really regimented, got to go to the location, we now have English and math placement tools that students can do from wherever after they're admitted and get accurately diagnosed into the right math and English class there. We made adjustments to our web page that made it really clear for new students how to get to their first advising appointments there. Then we brought back some of the events we had pre-pandemic and kind of went away from. You know, last year we brought back our Vaquero rallies where we invited seniors from all across the county to each of our campuses in April to say, here's your next steps. Here's how you get started. We brought back new student registration day events where they meet with an advisor, but we show them how to use the portal. They meet one-on-one with financial aid and student accounts. They meet the people in the library and the learning center so they feel comfortable getting started here. You know, in addition, we started having college planning nights at the Santa Ana Maricopa campus where we intentionally are outreaching to families to make sure that they're a part of the process to help the students get onboarded. I'm also really excited looking ahead, moving forward here. I got Dave Leanhoutz here as our new Dean of Student Development, and he's ready to get our orientation kicked up a notch. Man, I'm so excited I'm knocking the stuff over as we go on here there. But you know, orientation was like a one-time event where we kind of helped them through the processes. Basically with Dave, he's getting his team together, and we're gonna hop in the car with them as they get going on this pathway, and we're gonna ride with them the first 4 or 5 weeks as they get started at the college so they can be successful once they get here. You know, this kind of all came together. We had a new student registration day at the Superstition Mountain campus last week, and we had a student, well, I think she graduates this week from Apache Junction High School there. And she goes, I came to that Vaquero rally, and I was so scared. And, you know, it's a personal campus, small classes, personable people there. He goes, but that kind of said, you know, maybe I can do college. And then came back to the registration day and met one-on-one with Mary, one of our advisors, sat down with Jose, and he explained how she can pay for college. And like when she left, you know, she left with a smile going like, yeah, this is for me. But it took that invite to that Vaquero rally. You know, it took that invite to come to that registration event. And so those are our underserved students who we're giving clear, multiple, easier on-ramps for to get on. And so there's a variety of events that are listed in the report, but I think it's kind of all about creating those clear on-ramps and making it easy for those underserved students to get enrolled at the college there. I'm going to turn over to Louisa for 2-2, but Jose is going later, and Louisa gets to introduce him, but he became our official director of financial aid about a year ago, and he's kind of built up a new team as we've had promotions and transitions, but I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's done a fantastic job of doing the training with his new staff so they're all on the same page, and also doing outreach to other internal departments so they know that, like, here's when you have to send students financial aid, here's what you can do to help in that process there. So I'm thrilled that he gets a chance to make his inaugural debut here a little bit there. But before that, I'll turn you back to Lisa.
Okay, so one of our methods to, for the goal of affordability is through our tuition and fees. So the things that we have done to keep this where we want it to be is the governing board has approved tuition to remain the same for the next 2 years, while other community colleges in Arizona are either slightly increasing or some have proposed to remain the same, but most of them are slightly increasing every year, while we're remaining the same for the next 2 years. So that continues to put us at the goal of being below the average of all the other Arizona community colleges. One of the things that we do is we keep in communication with with all the Arizona community colleges. I have a monthly meeting with the business officers, and we're always talking about what are we charging for fees, whether some are going for increases, because all the community colleges seem to want to work together to try to keep college affordable for students. And then we have discussions with Dr. Elliott, and she's the one who recommended it stay the same for the next 2 years, and the governing board approved that. So we're continuing to keep it affordable to our students. And then Jose's going to come up and talk about Pell recipients, and then I'll be back up after him.
Good afternoon, Board President Lopez, members of the board, Dr. Elliott, Mary Lou. Thank you for allowing me to present today. And yeah, we're talking about Pell Grant recipients and how we're going to increase that. Part of that is going to be the FAFSA simplification itself. 24-25 is the big FAFSA simplification year, if you guys are not aware. But yeah, the methodology that the feds have put into place is supposed to give Pell Grants to more families and more students. So that's one way that we're hoping to do that, in addition to just the cross-collaboration that Andy mentioned, that my team is doing to make all of our departments aware of how important they play in the financial aid process. Because it's not just the financial aid office that does all the work. I mean, registration, recruitment, admissions, advising, they all have a little piece of it, and they may not be aware of that. And that's where the financial aid office, or my job, is to make sure that they're aware of the important pieces that they play. Another addition is the Title V grant. There's going to be a financial literacy component of that. So we're hoping to just kind of get the word out, because again, with FAFSA simplification, it's a whole new ballgame. So families that may have been ineligible even in 23-24 may find themselves eligible in 24-25. So we have to convince them that, hey, it's worth applying, because you never really know what you're eligible for until you apply. So we're having to kind of play that game again, to convince, again, families, and even families that have been stuck with this application process, keeping them aware that, hey, we're in it for them. You have a friend in financial aid, so if you are stuck with that process, make sure you're making us aware. There's lots of state resources also. We have the finish line to the FAFSA on our website, so that students know that, hey, we know, the government knows that the rollout hasn't been the best, but know that financial aid offices across the nation are ready to help their families and their students get the dollars that they need. Thank you.
So next we have outcome 3, which is stewardship. One of the things we do to ensure stewardship of our fiscal resources is to monitor the expenditures per footsie. As you can see in this this chart, we haven't quite met our goal yet. We're still well above the goal that we have. And so we have done some things to help improve this, it just hasn't quite been enough to reach the goal. Some of the things we've done is to increase the awareness of expenditure limitation and how it affects Central Arizona College. We've also looked at creating strategic goals within the finance department around designing an improved budget process and improved finance-related processes that hopefully will help us to continue to at least try to bring our expenditure limitation, or our expenditures down. But at the same time, we're struggling with inflation and advancing technology and those things. And so we're still trying to create that world-class learner experience and running up against these challenges. Some of the planned things, improvements that we have, is that we want to evaluate the calculation of the current goal, compare it against industry standards, and also compare it against other Arizona community colleges to see if maybe we set our goal a little too low based on what's going on in the environment these days and the economy. We are looking at designing a budget process that will excel as a policy document, financial planning, operational guide, and a communication tool. And then we are looking at continuous improvements and transparency related to the finance processes. And we're hoping that some of those planned improvements will help get this number closer to the goal that we want it to be.
I'm might just add one thing if I could. Another planned improvement is we are in the process of negotiating with a higher ed consultant to come in and look at our organizational structure, look at our staffing levels so we can develop a not a reactive, but a proactive staffing plan. If you recall, when you approve our budget, about 70% of our budget is in salaries and benefits, where the national average might hover around 65 on the top end. And so bringing somebody in to really help us look at our staffing levels, and are there opportunities to combine positions and move things around to get that number down specifically in salaries and benefits. Thanks, Louisa. Sorry to jump in there.
It's okay. Any questions on any part of this report?
Yes, Doctor.
Just a comment. It struck me as I was looking at this. You mentioned inflation and technology as being factors here. And so what we have is a static goal in a dynamic environment that we know is going to continue to be dynamic and continue to increase. And it strikes me that as you reevaluate the calculation of this, we maybe ought to be looking at a dynamic goal that will self-adjust based on factors like inflation and maybe some other things as well. Otherwise, we're always going to have the same frustration.
And what I'd like to do is look at what are the industry standards? Like, what do they use to monitor their cost per footsie? And maybe we just have the wrong idea of, which you're absolutely correct. It's going to continue to change. So, maybe it's a percentage of something that can fluctuate each year.
You mentioned something about statutes of limitations. What was that specifically referring to?
The expenditure limitation I mentioned. So what we're doing in order to try to keep our cost per footsie more towards our goal of being lower than what it is now is just making sure everybody's aware of expenditure limitation, because expenditure limitation does also affect how much we can budget. And so the closer we get to that, the harder it is to not only to meet this goal, but to be able to spend what we need to spend. So we have to be conscious of that. So we've been educating a lot of the budget owners, a lot of the college as a whole, trying to educate them a little bit more on the expenditure limitation and how to be mindful of that so that we can continue to stay well under that, rather than trying to bump up against it and be at risk of not being able to spend what we might need to spend to operate. Does that answer your question?
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate the transparency of your reports, because that shows us the ongoing monthly budget and how, if we're getting close or not. And so I think that's really great.
All right. Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Anybody? Good. Great, thank you. Thank you all. Great. All right, now we have an executive session, so we're going to ask, it's personnel. So do I have this is for CSC President's Annual Evaluation and Contract Negotiation, so do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. I'll second.
A motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye.
I do have one comment that I need to make.
If
It's absolutely necessary to make this comment.
not during the motion, though. Because you'll be in the open meeting violation.
I need to make the comment. There's a
You're
general
risking
comment. It
getting in
needs to be
trouble.
made. Frequently, you give board members the opportunity to make a comment at the end of a meeting, and that's what I want to do, is make a comment.
If it's agendized, it's not agendized.
Okay, we can
Okay,
make
well,
this-
go ahead.
We can make it simple, or we can make it complicated. It's up to you.
Well, okay, well, you're taking the risk. Go ahead.
We have one person on this board that should not be here. Ruth Smith is not in the district that she represents. And she should do the dignified thing and resign from the position and leave. And any motions that she made or seconded should be stricken from the record, because she is not a legal member of the board. She does not represent the district that she says she is
Rise to a point
appointed
of order.
Yeah, that's getting way beyond.
This is completely out of
Yeah.
order
Yep.
and
it
cannot
is.
continue.
Yep. Yeah, this issue's been dealt with lawyers and attorneys, so now, Jerry, you got to stop.
The
Please.
attorney told me different.
Well, that's still, we're in a public forum, and in open meeting law, we have to follow the
I
open
just
meeting
want to
law.
make a comment. It needs to be made.
And you made the comment. Thank you. All right.
You stop. A motion.
Okay, we still have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Against? Okay, motion carries. We're in executive session. Thank you all, and if you'll help us by clearing the room so we can go ahead and meet. All right. Okay, we're back in regular session. Item number 11, which is discussion approval of renewing CSC President Employment Contract. Dr. Elliott. So do we have a motion?
I will make the motion that we increase the salary by 12%.
Okay.
And the other two allowances at 10%.
So that's the vehicle and the travel reimbursement, right? And then the contract?
And the contract extended for another year,
Is it a year?
total of
Just-
3 years.
Is it
Rolling contract.
it's just a year to take it through? Okay. All right. Okay. So we had the motion. We got a second motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those against? Motion carries. Jackie, we need to prepare a contract. Jennifer's going to put those numbers in. Great. Thank you very much. And with that, let's see. Let's see where we're at on the agenda. And actually, we don't have a section in here for we inadvertently left it off, so we don't have a call to the board this time. So so we'll adjourn. Meeting adjourned. All right.